I'm going to share a very simple presentation. I have nothing to teach. I'm going to show you some stories from what's been for me a very, very incredible journey over 21 years of working with some of the lowest income children. And more importantly, a journey of being obsessed about how we can provide an excellent education to every single one of the 320 million children in our country who deserve one. So if nothing else, I'm going to show you some beautiful children, some amazing teachers. All the artwork has been done by the kids who I've had a privilege to work with. And this talk is really focusing on stories from my life around the theme of giving and what it means to give. And I want to start by saying that for the first 30 years of my life, I don't think I actively thought about the idea of giving. I didn't think about it. I didn't observe it in people around me. I didn't know whether I was doing it or not. And then Latif came into my life. Latif walked into our program at Akanksha when he was 12 years old. And he was one of those kids that would walk into a classroom and make everything better. I don't know if you all have someone like that in your life. Someone who's just warm and full of life and just seems to be good at everything. Latif was bright. He was great at athletics, and he had a beautiful voice. He was the star of our Akanksha musical. Just a fantastic kid. He was one of those people that have the ability to just make you feel better just by their very presence. And they used to always tell us as teachers that one thing you must never do is have favorite children. But I always had just 2 or 3, and Latif was one of my favorite kids. And then when Latif was 21 years old, I was driving from Mumbai to Pune, and I got a call just as I was reaching Pune to say, Latif's very, very ill. He's in the ICU, and I think it's very serious. One of my teachers had called me, so I turned my car around, drove back to Mumbai. By the time I reached Mumbai, Latif had passed away. He was 21 years old. It was a couple of years after he had starred in this big musical of ours. And he got a sudden respiratory infection and died very suddenly. And so the next day I was in his home, and he lived in a 10-foot by 10-foot home, didn't have a father, lived with his grandfather, who he adored. And Latif's dream had been to work and earn enough so that his grandfather would stop working. And 6 months before, he'd actually achieved that. And his grandfather told me, he said, Didi, it was late at night, the night before Latif died, and I knew he was sick, and I knew it wasn't an ordinary illness. And so I took 14,000 rupees out of a trunk that I had been collecting, and I put it in Latif's hand, and I said, Latif, take this money and promise me that you will go to a private hospital. Don't go to a government hospital, Latif. And Latif, because he didn't want his grandfather to go back to work, telling anyone, put it back into the trunk, went to a government hospital, and died 12 hours later. And I don't know if the outcome would have been any different if he had gone to a different hospital, but I do know that that day was the day that I started thinking about what it meant to give. And I realized that in all my years of working with kids and with people, I really didn't have a clue of what it really meant to give. It was very, very hard for me to choose one example of my 506 incredible Teach for India fellows to share with you. But I'm going to share one example. This is one of our fellows who graduated this year. His name's Arhan. Arhan was at McGill University in Canada before he joined Teach for India. He heard about Teach for India, moved to India to teach for 2 years full-time in a school in Pune. You see him here with his kids. The incredible thing is, Arhan's kids, it was a first-year intervention classroom, so Arhan's kids had never had a Teach for India fellow before. They couldn't speak a word of English. They couldn't read and write. They were years behind where they needed to be. But Arhan set a big goal.
In the school, we are study, and we bored. We said, sir, we are very bored. We played some games. Sir said let's play football. My name is Chaitrali. I am the manager of football team. These are my coaches: Ravindra, Deepak, Harsh, Rohit. We are coaching to other do fitness. We'll make a triangle, and first we'll do frog, then we'll go second cone, then we'll sit up, and then high knees, then push up, then step. We like to go coaching because first time we getting to chance coaching to other schools. We are meeting some new friends also. If you work hard like us, you also become a coach one day.
But I don't know if you heard the little girl Chaitrali say, I'm the manager and these are the coaches. So it started out with the kids learning values through the sport of football, doing it in their own school. But then Arhan had a bigger dream and he said, why can't my kids go out and coach kids across Pune? And so they started working. Eventually they worked with a group of 50 different schools. Arhan graduated from Teach for India. He's on his way to Harvard University, but he has a dream of coming back and sort of spinning off Just for Kicks as a way to teach kids values and mindsets through the art of sport. And I often think about what's the impact that all of this has, will have, may have one day on my own two girls. And so I want to share one example. Sana turned 8 this year, and a month before her birthday, we sat down, and I said, well, what do you want to do for your birthday party? And we usually have a theme, and we do activities around a theme, so I said, can you think of a theme? And she said, yes, Mama, help and share. So I said, what's help and share? What's a help and share party? She said, Mama, you know, it means that during the party, we have to help and we have to share. And she planned an entire party where she wanted to go out and buy a whole lot of things, new things, balls, bats, Barbie dolls for the girls. And basically there was a big bucket of all these things, and her friends came over and they chose what they wanted to give away, and they sat and they made notes, they wrote notes, thank you notes to all the people that generally help us, the taxi driver, the bus driver, all these people. And the whole party was a walk around the neighborhood where the kids were saying thank you and giving things away to other people on the street, kids, other people. And I thought, you know, maybe somewhere she gets it, even at 8. And maybe that is the legacy that I may be able to leave her with. And this is perhaps one of my most compelling stories. This is an Akanksha teacher dancing in this image with the mother of one of her kids, who's also worked with us for many years. The teacher's name is Anjali. She taught the same group of kids who were living on the street for 10 years. She made a 10-year commitment to these kids. The kids didn't speak a word of English, had some of the most horrific life stories you can possibly imagine. But for 10 years, she was with them. I'm going to show you a short video, and if possible, can we have the volume a little louder? Thanks. A short video, and I want you to think about how you imagine a street child to be, and then look at Anjali's student and think about where she actually is and where she's come. And what acts of giving must Anjali have done and Jyoti have done to get her there?
When I became a teacher, I questioned, could a child from the slums speak impeccable English? Could they think critically? Could they change their lives? Jyoti came into my class 4 years later, shy, awkward, speaking close to no English, and with no dream.
I'm from not being educated. I'm from being conservative and inhibited. I'm from not knowing what a dream is. to being a student at Akanksha, to now standing before you at TEDx, to making tough choices, to fighting for my dreams. I am the change I've always dreamed of being.
Like all children, my children too laughed, cried, ate and played. But unlike other children, their reality was of living on the roads. Alcoholic fathers who beat their wives, drugs, no electricity, fighting for water and often no food. Jyoti's reality was all this and more. She lost her father, the person she was closest to at the age of 13.
My journey to dreams began when I first came to Anjali D's class. I was scared and nervous. I knew very little English. Her class used to read books and I hadn't read any. Didi's lines still echo in my mind. Never set a bar for yourself, because once you reach it, you stop pushing. You stagnate.
Through newspapers, Jyoti learnt about the Israel-Palestine problem, the Maoist and Kashmir issue, and the subprime problem in the US. We learned phonics, words, phrases, comprehensions, articles, read books. The list was long.
Unconscious of other people's opinions about me. When I tell them that I am from the slums, I feel as if they think less of me. They pity me, and I even dislike the fact that they are awed by my English. I feel I'm no less than a kid from a privileged background. Then why do people expect less?
Today I know that a child from the slums can speak impeccable English. I know that they can think critically. I have seen them change their lives.
I'm a slum dweller, but education sets me apart. I'm different. I think different. I dream, and I dream big. Education has made me take a different route. I chose college over marriage. I chose education over dependency. I chose dreams over a life of no choices. Education has changed my outlook towards life. It has altered my way of thinking. It has made me what I am. Today, I have belief in what my Didi believed. I believe I have the potential to achieve my dreams.
Think about Anjali and the journey of giving that she's been on. I think about the hundreds and thousands of little things that happen over 10 years of work. And last week, I was doing a recruitment presentation for Teach for India at my old college, and I showed this video, and after it, I told the students at Xavier's that next week, you're going to have a new classmate. Jyoti is joining St. Xavier's College. And I had goosebumps not because of the fact that she's got into Xavier's, but because I know that that girl is going to push other students thinking so much at Xavier's. She's going to contribute so much at Xavier's. She's going to show what is possible through the story of her life. And so, just to sum up these things, I'd like to share a poem that I wrote that explores some of these things, and it's a poem that was inspired by a couple of examples of things that happened in my own life. And the poem is about two characters. One is called Get, and one is called Give. So this is what Get said to Give, and what Give taught Get. So Get said to Give, in order to live, just take what you can, be rich, dearest man, learn to grab and to claw, always want more, 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 and don't stop to think what your wanting is for. Be rich, man, be cool, send your kid to a school where he'll grow up to be a rich Get, just like me. Then Give interrupted. Get, stop, Get, please stop. All this talk of just making it up to the top makes me giddy and dizzy and fizzy and sick. You're up to no good, Get. I know all your tricks. You're making these people think love can be bought, that happiness tickets with money are brought. I know your type, Get. I used to be you till I stumbled on giving and what it can do. And that is I must share here with you. I used to feel good, Get, just giving away some old clothes, the torn ones, the jeans that were frayed. Then one day a child said he dreamed he could play with a new toy, not my giveaway. So I went out and bought Get a shirt that was cool, thinking about what he'd wear after school, and a toy car I bought him of shiny bright blue. I thought of what 6-year-old boys like to do, and the smile that he gave Get, that smile, it was real, so real that my heart didn't know how to feel. And the next day, while walking, I saw a small child. She asked for some money. Her hair was quite wild. And when I said no, she pointed afar to a coconut vendor behind all the cars. I followed her zigzag across Mumbai's loud street. We sat down with coconuts on dusty tar seats. Just me and the little girl sipping away. A sliver of joy had slipped in my day. And as we were chatting about things that she chose, a man not too far watched, then quietly rose, and then came towards us and, almost ashamed, gave a bright, shiny apple, then left as he came. And you see, Get, when you start to give, you pave roads for the others to change how they live. When you first start to look, Get, it may be a haze, but many are giving, you will be amazed. The tree, how it gives of its fruit and its shade. The carpenter gives of the wood that he's made. The teacher, she gives every student her right. The puppy, he fills every heart with delight. The farmer, he gives of his hard-earned new crop. The sun gives us light till the moon says to stop. The temple and mosque really say we are one. The swing takes us high, up and down kind of fun. And music, she gives us a world that is free, and dreams, how they teach us just what we can be. So I watched, Get, I watched, and I learned how to give, how to always have hope, how to love and forgive, to compare myself down, to feel thanks, to want less. Get I learned to share more. Get I learned to feel blessed.